Lightroom users dream of the day when Lightroom internally offers a way to stitch together a series of sequenced photos into a panorama. Until that day arrives, Photoshop CC's Photo Merge is a good alternative. In this video, you'll see how to go directly to Photo Merge using Lightroom's external editing link. You'll also see how to use Photoshop's content-aware fill to make an even more compelling panorama. The method we're going to use in this video creates a panorama that takes advantage of the full resolution of each image file. And depending on how many images are stitched together, it can result in a very large file with enough resolution to print huge prints. If your final destination is the screen, or if you're interested in simply previewing your work before committing to a larger size, I suggest you use Lightroom's export controls and a custom-made preset that reduces the file size of each component of the panorama. You can see how to make such a preset in the video, Create Export Presets. In Lightroom's Library module, Grid View, select the images for your panorama. To select more than one image, hold the Command or Control key and click. You can select a series of adjacent images by selecting the first image, holding the Shift key, and then selecting the last image. Now, right-click, or Option or Alt-click, on the selected images, and from the contextual menu, choose Edit In, Merge to Panorama in Photoshop. Your images will now be sent automatically to Photoshop's Photo Merge feature. There's nothing more for you to do until you see the Photo Merge dialog window. At this point, you have several options, but leaving the default settings is the easiest way to go. Your files should all be present under the source files. Click OK. Photoshop goes to work, stitching your images together. The time it takes to do this will depend on how many images you selected and the file size. It can take a very long time, but you don't have to sit there watching the progress bar. You can go back into Lightroom and edit other images while you wait for Photo Merge to do its job. Once the stitching is complete, your panorama will appear in the preview window. If you initially shot your images with aperture priority and framed each shot with 1/2 to 1/3 overlap, you should be fine. Because of Photo Merge's sophisticated auto-align capability, you don't need to use a tripod, but it doesn't hurt if you do. Notice in the Layers palette to the right, the individual files are on their own layer with masks. If you're not satisfied with the results, you can go into the Layers and Mask and fine-tune the results. After merging layers, you can also use the Clone Stamp tool to clean up any unwanted artifacts. I'm going to merge my layers now. First, make sure all the layers are selected. Then use the keyboard command, Control-E, or use the pop-up menu and select Merge Layers. As you can see in my photo merged image, the horizon and foreground lines are not straight. There are a couple things I can do to complete this panorama. First, I can use the crop tool and simply crop to a rectangle like this. This method works fine, but I'd lose a lot of valuable data with the crop. I'll show you an alternative to this that is way cool. Instead of using the crop tool, select the Magic Wand selection tool. Click outside the image area. You should see the marching ants surround the image. Now, go to Select, Modify, Expand, and type in 10 pixels, and then select OK. This will grow your selection and add some of the image data to your selection. Now, select Edit, Fill, and in the Fill dialog window, under Contents, select Content Aware. Now click OK. It may take a while depending on the image, but when it's finished, Content Aware extends the foreground and background so you have a more complete and compelling panorama. Sometimes you may need to use Photoshop retouching tools to get things just right, or open the image in Lightroom and use the retouching tools found there. Once you've finished working on the panorama in Photoshop, save the file and it will automatically be added to your Lightroom catalog. Now I'm going to deselect the marching ants and save the image, Command S, and this will now bring the image back into Lightroom. And you can see that the panorama exists now in Lightroom. This is truly an amazing way to create a panorama, and you can only do it in Photoshop. I've shown you how to use the Lightroom Edit and Link to bring your images into PhotoMerge. How do you do it if you use the export method? It's a little more complicated, but still very straightforward. Select the images you want to bring into Photoshop. I'm going to use an export preset I created that will export the images 8-bit sRGB TIFFs at a resolution of only 1000 by 1000 pixels. As you see, because of the way I created my preset, they open automatically in Photoshop. Once they're open in Photoshop, I select File, Automate, PhotoMerge. This time there are no files selected, but if I select Add Open Files, my files will appear. If a file name appears that you don't want, simply select it and then select Remove. The process from here on is the same as the one I described earlier. The only difference is, after you save your final panorama, you'll need to re-import it into Lightroom. It doesn't go there automatically as it does in the previous example. Now you're set and ready to create either a high-resolution panorama or one that is ready to share on the web or on a screen. Either method is really quite easy, as I'm sure you'll discover.